So I want you to be now super uncomfortable and watch this video of an interaction between him and none other than Diddy. Take a listen.
Justin, you ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. I have been given custody of him. He signed to Usher.
Signed to Usher.
I had legal guardianship of Usher when he did his first album. I did Usher's first album. I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me. So and we gonna go full crazy.
We're going crazy.
So young Justin Bieber, who was signed by Usher, involved with Scooter Braun, now all of a sudden he's being put in the hands of Diddy, who, it is true, he became the legal guardian for Usher. You can look up all of the allegations of what Diddy did to Usher. A lot of this coming out via multiple lawsuits that essentially, if we were to put it in a nice context, or at least use a euphemism for something that's really disgusting, the allegations are essentially that Diddy very much initiated Usher into Hollywood.
Diddy bought his son a Bentley. Maybe, he could buy you one also while you're out.
He got me a Lamborghini.
That's nice.
I haven't gotten it yet, though.
Yeah, I know. When is that coming, that Lamborghini? We talked about this last time.
He had the Lamborghini for a day or two, and he had access to the house, and he knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television.
The entertainment world has seen its fair share of scandals, but few moments have sent shockwaves like the resurfacing of footage showing a teenage Justin Bieber under the control of one of the most powerful men in music, Sean Diddy Combs. On the surface, the clip might look harmless, just a mogul joking around with a young rising star. But when you dig deeper, when you listen carefully to the words, the laughter, and the body language, a much darker story begins to reveal itself.
Unearthing videos of Justin Bieber at Diddy parties. Now, Justin Bieber was obviously extremely young when he entered the industry, extremely innocent when he entered the industry, an industry that he did not quite understand as a boy who just knew how to sing and play the guitar and just did both of those things on YouTube. Then he was scooped up, and suddenly he was a part of people like Diddy going after him and saying, hey man, why don't you pick up my phone calls? There's actually a video of that. Diddy and Justin Bieber looks to be like 15 years old and said, why aren't you picking up my phone calls? And he's like, oh, I know you were trying to contact me through people and I don't have your number. And the next thing we know, Justin is at Diddy's parties.
What's up, man? You good?
I'm good. How are you?
All right, young brother, everything's good?
Everything's
Selling
great.
out arenas and everything? Starting to act different, huh?
No,
you ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out.
Well, you try to get in contact with me, through all my, business, partners and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But you never really got my number, so.
Correct. Okay.
My number?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you my number.
Yeah.
Justin Bieber was only 15 years old at the time, a kid from Canada who had just gone viral on YouTube for singing in his bedroom, suddenly thrown into the dangerous inner circle of Hollywood's most untouchable figure. The man promising him luxury cars, access, and a 48-hour weekend where they would go, in Diddy's own words, full crazy. When this video resurfaced years later, the internet didn't laugh. It froze. And then it exploded with questions. Why was a teenager being handed over to Diddy like property? Why was this treated as a joke? And more importantly, why did no one in the industry step in to protect Justin? Candace Owens, never one to hold back, stepped into the conversation and said what millions were already whispering. This wasn't mentorship, this wasn't guidance, this was grooming ground zero. Today, we're gonna break down the disturbing story of how Justin Bieber was pulled into Diddy's orbit, the shocking silence of the industry that enabled it, and how the truth is finally catching up with Diddy. This isn't about gossip, it's about power, control, and how one young artist's rise to fame was forever tainted by the shadows of someone else's influence.
He did an interview back in 2020 with Zane Lowe. I think this was on Apple Music. And he was speaking about another young artist that was coming up, Billie Eilish, and Eilish. And he was basically speaking about how he wanted to protect her because she was now another young person, a rising artist in the industry. And sort of out of nowhere, he became quite overcome with emotion. Take a listen.
Did you feel protective of her?
Yeah, I definitely feel protective of her. It was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn, and everyone, telling me they love me and, just turn their back on you in a second. So yeah, it's hard because I want her to know that, she can count on me. But at the end of the day, I'm never gonna force myself to be in a relationship with her. It has to be natural, right? So I just kind of, let her do her thing, and if she ever needs me, I'm gonna be here for her. But yeah, just protecting those moments because people take for granted encounters and yeah. So yeah. I just want to protect her, I don't want her to lose it. I don't want her to, go through anything I went through. I don't wish that upon anybody. So, yeah, if she ever needs me, I'm just a call away.
I'm not even kidding. Watching that clip makes me emotional because he is saying so much without really saying anything.
And in this one video, it looks like whatever Justin is doing, and I'm not going to show it out of just respect for the fact that I truly believe that Justin Bieber is a victim. But whatever he is doing in this video with Trey Songz and Odell Beckham Jr. looks highly suspicious. I can show you a still from that video because I think the relevant part is Justin Bieber is not sober. He is clearly very heavily under the influence at this party. And if you remember that lawsuit that the producer Rodney dropped against Diddy, he said that unbeknownst to all of these people, they were being drugged at Diddy's parties, that they were pouring out the liquor bottles and replacing it with other drugs. He kept...
to my limits. Oh, I gotta feel that experience. I'm coming back. It's all good. Happy New Year! Woo!
The video begins innocently enough. A teenage Justin Bieber sits next to Diddy looking slightly nervous as the rap mogul brags to the camera. You ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now he's having 48 hours with Diddy, he says with a smile. He's with me for the next 2 days and we're going full crazy. At first glance, some brushed it off as comedy, but when you stop and think about it, it becomes chilling. Why is a 15-year-old boy spending unsupervised nights with a grown man known for his wild lifestyle? Why is Diddy bragging about being given custody of Bieber, even comparing it to his supposed guardianship of Usher when Usher was young? That comparison alone raises serious concerns, because Diddy himself openly admitted in the clip that he had legal guardianship of Usher when Usher was first starting out. And anyone who has followed the lawsuits surrounding Diddy knows that Usher's time under him is clouded by disturbing allegations. Owens pointed out the obvious. Diddy had a pattern, and Justin was the next target. The clip doesn't end there. Diddy begins talking about gifts, specifically luxury cars. Diddy bought his son a Bentley, someone says in the video. Diddy quickly adds, "Maybe I'll buy you one too." Justin, still just a teenager, laughs awkwardly and responds, "He got her Lamborghini. It's nice." But then he admits he hasn't actually received it yet. Diddy presses him further, grinning about when the car is coming and what they've been doing together. To the casual viewer, it might seem like playful banter. But Owens emphasized how uncomfortable Justin's laugh was, how his body language looked like someone trying to brush off a conversation he didn't want to have. And when you add in the context that this was a 15-year-old kid just starting out, it becomes harder to ignore the red flags. Candace Owens has always been known for pushing conversations into uncomfortable territory, and in this case, she made it clear Justin Bieber's access to Diddy was no accident. This wasn't about mentorship. This wasn't about helping him, Owens said. This was targeted. Diddy had influence, wealth, and connections that made him untouchable. And Justin, still a boy at the time, was pulled directly into his orbit. Owens replayed the footage, breaking down every awkward laugh, every sidestep, every moment where Justin looked like he wanted out of the conversation but didn't know how to say it. Then she asked the question that cut to the core. Why was this okay? Why did the industry normalize a teenager being handed off to a powerful adult man, left unsupervised, and paraded around parties filled with adults, alcohol, and temptation? Another video resurfaced, this time showing Diddy confronting Justin about not answering his calls. "You ain't been calling me, hanging out the way we used to," Diddy says, almost accusingly. Justin, clearly caught off guard, tries to explain. "I mean, you tried to get in contact with me through my business partners and everything, but you never really got my number." Diddy laughs and says he'll give him his number right there. Again, it might look harmless at first. But Owens pointed out the imbalance of power. A grown man pressuring a teenager to stay in contact, acting offended when the teenager didn't pick up his calls. It wasn't normal. It wasn't right. For a kid like Justin, who was barely old enough to drive, this was overwhelming. And yet, everyone around them, the managers, the agents, the executives, looked the other way. This is where Owens became the loudest. She didn't just call out Diddy, she called out the entire entertainment industry. Because the truth is, Diddy wasn't acting in secret. He was bragging about this in interviews, on camera, in public, and yet no one intervened. Owens asked, would any normal parent allow their 15-year-old to spend nights with a celebrity unsupervised? The answer is obvious, but in Hollywood, it was treated as just another quirky story. Power protected power, and the industry chose to protect Diddy instead of protecting Bieber. Years later, in a 2020 interview with Zane Lowe, Justin Bieber broke down in tears while talking about Billie Eilish. He said he felt protective of her because he didn't want her to go through what he went through as a young artist. He didn't give details, he didn't name names, but the emotion in his voice said everything. "I just want to protect her. I don't want her to lose it. I don't want her to go through what I went through. I don't wish that upon anybody," Justin said, wiping away tears. Owens played this clip and connected the dots. Justin couldn't outright say it, but he was trying to warn us. He was saying more with his tears than he ever could with words. This wasn't stress. This was trauma. Trauma from being thrown into situations he never should have been in. Trauma from being used, manipulated, and left unprotected. As the lawsuits against Diddy pile up, a disturbing picture emerges. Multiple cases allege that his infamous parties weren't just about music and glamour. They were places where control was exercised through manipulation, substances, and silence. One producer even alleged that people were unknowingly drugged at these events. Owens pointed to footage of Justin Bieber at a party with Trey Songz and Odell Beckham Jr., where Justin appeared heavily under the influence. She refused to play the full video out of respect, but she showed a still image and made her point clear. This wasn't a kid having fun. This was exploitation disguised as celebration. Owens tied it all together. This wasn't a one-time thing. It was a pattern. Diddy had done it with Usher, then with Bieber, and likely with many others whose names we may never know. The lawsuits and testimony suggest a man who used power, money, and connections to surround himself with vulnerable young talent. It wasn't mentorship, it was control. For decades, Diddy was untouchable. His wealth, fame, and influence kept him protected. But Owens emphasized that the tide is finally turning. The lawsuits are public. The testimonies are stacking up. Former allies are distancing themselves, and the world is no longer laughing off the old footage as funny moments. People are finally seeing them for what they are, red flags that were ignored for too long. Diddy's empire, built on power and fear, is starting to crumble, and Justin Bieber's story is at the center of that collapse. Candace Owens ended her message with a direct warning to parents. Would you let your teenage child spend nights with a celebrity unsupervised? Would you brush it off if your son or daughter laughed nervously on camera next to a grown adult who was pressuring them for attention? The answer is no. And yet, Hollywood allowed it to happen to Justin Bieber. This isn't about gossip. This isn't about drama. This is about accountability. Diddy used his power to access those who couldn't protect themselves, and too many adults helped him do it. But the silence is cracking, the truth is out, and the world is finally seeing Sean Diddy Combs for who he really is. At the center of it all stands Justin Bieber, a survivor, a man who has battled demons, fought his way through trauma, and is still here to tell his story. He may never say it all out loud, but his tears, his struggles, and his resilience speak volumes. The time for silence is over. The truth can't be hidden anymore, and no amount of money or power will be able to protect Diddy from what's coming next.